Hi, Chris, you okay?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good.
Chris, another opportunity to pick up the first win of the season this weekend. Have you seen enough from general performances in the last three games to suggest that the tide is going to turn soon?
I think everybody has. An excellent Leicester City side. Obviously, the first two games, the West Ham and the West Brom. Yeah, but as I said afterwards, I'm a bit bored and tired of saying the same thing. So we have to affect it. We have to affect it. We understand it. We're not being dramatic about it. We understand we've got to affect it sooner than later. It's gone on far too long, but there's always got to be that desire that the next game is your biggest, which we understand, and something that we're looking forward to.
How important is it from your point of view to keep a positive mindset around the place? Because you are only a couple of wins potentially from still getting out of the relegation zone.
Yeah, we are. We've reminded the players that, and they understand that. It's not a good run. Can't hide away from that. But there has been cases over the last sort of 7, 8, 9 years where teams have gone, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games without a win. Not many, and have achieved what they've wanted to achieve through those bad runs. And we're part of that. So we have to accept that we haven't been good enough. All of us haven't been good enough so far. And people can talk all day long about stats, and players can talk about stats and only getting beat by the odd goal in the majority of the games and playing well in the majority of games. But as I said afterwards, I'm honest in my assessment. It hasn't been good enough, and the players haven't done enough, and we haven't done enough as a group to get the points that we won. We haven't, and that's something we have to accept. But we have to keep upbeat. Yeah, I should imagine people looking at my body language. In the 90th minute, I think I'm allowed for the first time in the season to look quite down and frustrated. I think we all were. We're all feeling that pain. The players and myself, the staff, and most importantly the supporters, because they deserve a little bit more than what we're giving them at the moment. But I think you understand in professional sport that we have to quickly get over it, and I have, and switch back onto the most important thing, which is preparing the team for a really big game on Sunday afternoon.
The return of fans this weekend, albeit they will be Southampton fans, but could that still give your players a lift?
Yeah, I'm sure it will do. I'm jealous, as I've said afterwards, regarding I looked at Frank Lampard after his win against Leeds and going round the ground, and even though there was 2,000 in, they still feel there was that buzz about the place, and we're a bit jealous for that. I must admit, and obviously being whether the word is punished is the right way is the right word, just because we live in a certain part of the country. But I've said all along, I'm delighted to get supporters back in the ground, and especially at Bramall Lane, and we really do hope that comes sooner than later. But Southampton will have that advantage over us, and it's something we have to overcome, as well as overcoming a very good side who are in great nick at the moment.
Can I ask you about the PSG game in midweek? The players walking off the pitch. What did you make of that? Do you think it was the right thing to do to make a stand?
I've got to say, I didn't really take much notice of it. Obviously, the players made their own decision regarding that situation. So I've got to say, I've not, as you can imagine, my sole focus has been of our game on Sunday. Yeah, it's obviously not a great situation that happened over in Paris during the week. But I've got to say, I've not really looked at it really, and I've been, as you can imagine, 100% focused on the game at the weekend. Obviously not condoning what went off. It's not a great situation yet again.
Cheers, Chris. All the best on Sunday.
Thank you.
Hi, Chris. First of all, Elise Mousset, have we got an expected sort of time frame on how long he's going to be out?
Yeah, they've all trained this morning, which is good news for the group. Ethan, Ender Stevens, and Lise, they've all took part in the training session. They've all added various minutes to that training session, but they've all took part in one way or the other. So we'll monitor them over the next 24 hours, and hopefully they come through tomorrow's training session, and they're on the coach to go down to Southampton.
So all three of them, even Lisa's got a chance of playing at the weekend.
Yeah, they all have a chance of playing. Yeah.
Decision to make it at left wing back and left centre back as well. Chris, 5 players all competing for those slots. Have you made the decision on who's going to start at the weekend?
Yeah, we've got an idea, but as I said, looking at what happens over the next 24 hours, really, Adam, to make those decisions. But it has been disrupted, especially in that left centre half spot, and obviously Ender played the majority of the season for us last year, or the last 2 or 3 seasons, and he's been the mainstay of and been outstanding for us. So to miss an experienced player at a time where we need experience has obviously been disappointing.
Reece Norrington-Davies this week getting a contract until 2024. Obviously, great news for him and the club. Is that reward for what he's been doing with Luton and with Wales this season?
Yep, spot on. He went out on loan. He's a young player. He went out on loan, left wing back. He went out on loan to Rochdale last year. His first really taste of senior football league experience, and he did well, and he's doing well. So we're delighted for the young man.
Have you at any point thought about recalling him in January to bring him back?
No, there's no recall. No, there's no recall. We wanted to see for him to go out there for a season and start building a career for himself. As you can imagine, playing for Rochdale and playing in the Premier League is a big step, but he's overcome the hurdle, and it's good news.
You talked about trying to find the way to switch back on after last weekend. Did the players help to lift you and help each other this week?
Well, they have to help themselves first and foremost, and it's the same with me. I have to get myself off the canvas because that's what it felt like, and I'm not embarrassed to say that. I said it afterwards in the interview with yourselves and Radio Sheffield. It was a tough defeat. I think we did enough to get a result against a good side, and you have to go again. And many messages of support from not just in and around Sheffield and Sheffield United supporters, but nationwide from people in football. They understand the game. They understand when it goes against you. I believe it is going against you, but you have to reset and go again. And that's what I and the players have tried to do this week. And I just said in the previous interview, Adam, there has been cases. All stats will come out. We understand that. All stats will come out about one of the worst starts, if not the worst start to Premier League, and everything that goes with that. And yeah, they're right. It is that, but not all is lost. And there are examples of teams going on runs, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games without a win. So there is some hope, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. But I do understand it, and we all do, that for that to happen, it can't just be left to the last 15 games of the season. It's got to happen now, and we've got to start picking up some results in and around this period leading into the new year, and some positive ones. Getting, stats and XGs, and we should have scored more goals, and we should have had more points from what our play people say deserve. But for me, the reason that we are in this situation, we are in this position, lies within our changing room, and unfortunately we have not been good enough at key times and big moments, and we have to address that. There's been a lot of times that we've been okay and competed, but it's a Premier League, and it's not just about competing; it's about delivering as well. And the players and myself have to deliver better than what we have done, and that's something that is something that we have to address, and we have to try and do better with in the next games that are coming up.
Pertinent example, really, of what you've been speaking about, Chris, this weekend. 14 months ago, Southampton were in the bottom three. They'd just been hammered 9-0 at home by Leicester. They eventually survived comfortably, and finished fifth, and they're now moving into fifth. Does that just show how fortunes can change, and can change quite dramatically?
Yeah, it can be. There was never going to be, from our point of view, stepping into the Premier League, it was never going to be this fabulous side that's going to go and steamrolling, bankrolled or steamrolled, whatever, however you want to put it. Maybe a Blackburn Rovers scenario, some years ago that were strong and powerful enough to take the Premier League by storm. So you look at all our games last year, and they were really tight. You look at a lot of West Ham's games this year; they've been quite tight, but they're finding a way to win, and we need to find a way to win. Southampton found a way to get results and get the confidence and belief flowing back into the game and the momentum, and we need to find a way to get a result, find a way to get a draw, to get a win, to get ourselves up and running. And I keep saying it, nobody else is going to help you, and nobody else is going to give this. There's not a magic formula to it. You've just got to get back to work, and believe in what has got us into this position, and what has been the fundamental parts of our game that has turned us from a team that was struggling in League One to one that was the position that we had. So I keep saying to people, and I've coached and managed different formations. If I felt it was a formation thing, I would change it. Of course I would. If I thought it was about shape and that, of course I would. It's been difficult picking the team, and there'll always be favourites, and there'll always be people that are out the team now that people think they should be in. I understand that. It has been really difficult because I think players have not really grasped or took that opportunity, and they can't afford just to say, well, I need 3, 4, 5 games run at it. They've got to take opportunities, and they've got to produce really good performances and do the job as much as I need to do my job well. And I'm not doing my job well enough at the moment because that's the situation. The players aren't as well. So that's how it is. But there are examples. As I've said, of teams going on long runs, but we have to come out of it quickly, Adam. It's been long enough now, and we have to show, as I said, something that gives us something to hang on to.
How impressed are you with what Ralph has done at Southampton, and how he's managed to turn them around into the team that we see on a great run at the moment?
Yeah, there's a lot of good managers in the league, and to get to this position as a Premier League manager, you have to do a lot of things right at every particular club. So, they're a good side, but they found a way, and they found a way, I should imagine, through hard work, through I imagine, building a run, getting a win, and recovering from obviously that situation that they were in last year, and building momentum, and have done great, and it's what the Premier League's about. It's players and teams can find that little bit of momentum going forward, and go on runs just as much as they can lose momentum and go on poor runs as we have.
Now, while you won't want him to fire this weekend, are you pleased to see Che Adams finally finding his feet in the Premier League?
I've got to say, Adam, yeah, I think I'm not so sure about the question that you're asking me, mate. That you're talking about, pleased to see an opposition player doing well. I'm 100% bothered about Sheffield United, as you've heard recently in the national press, that I am selfish about Sheffield United, and I want our club to do well. So my big thing is, they leave our football club for a reason, and we shake hands, and then we deal with the players at our football club, which are the present players, and trying to get them right. I've got, as you can imagine, all on and a lot of decisions and a lot of work to do in terms of trying to help the players and the players helping themselves. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that ad.
Just finally from me, Alex Sabella passed away this week. A big player for Sheffield United, lots of memories from people. Do you remember watching him in his time at Bramall Lane?
Yeah, it did. It coincided with my early sort of years at Bramall Lane, and in '78 I was 10, 11, so that was my sort of early introduction to Sheffield United, 9, 10, 11, and obviously, fabulous player, a brilliant signing by Harry Aslam and Danny Bigaro. I got to know really well. I played football I was apprenticed at Southampton with his son Simon, and Danny was a reserve team manager when I came back to Sheffield after Southampton. But he was instrumental in bringing Alex Sabella over, and it was a really forward-thinking move. I know obviously he didn't stay as long as what our punters would have liked for him to stay, and obviously moved up the road after a few games. But for us at the time to sign him was fabulous, and obviously he went on to coach and manage his national side. So obviously sympathy to his family, and he's fondly remembered by obviously the older generation of Sheffield United fans, which I'm obviously one of them.
Thanks for those reflections, Chris. Good luck at this weekend.
Thanks, Adam. Cheers. Thank you.
Hi, Chris. You okay?
Hi, Naz.
Chris, this could be a huge week for you with the 3 games in the 7 days. If you were to get 6, 7 points out of 9, the table looks different.
Hey. I love you, Naz. I like you. Is it that easy?
I don't know. I'm asking the question. But it's a big week. It's a big 10, 11
games, so I'm not sure. Southampton.
It's a huge week, though, isn't it, Chris? You could turn this around.
They're all big weeks. They've been big weeks from the moment we've stepped into the Premier League, going back to the Bournemouth away one. So, yeah, but they're opportunities, aren't they? They're opportunities. We have to be at our best, as we've said all along, as we've said last year, as we've said this year. We have to be good in both boxes. We have to cut out the mistakes. We've got to play. We've got to find a way. We've got to find a way to get in our form back and getting that belief and confidence running through the team. I think what you're saying is that if you do come through this week and you have a big week, of course it's a huge bonus, and that has to be our ambition, is to have a big week in terms of performances and obviously results.
Chris, you've been in management for several years. I think about the time when you went in at Northampton. I remember speaking to you after you got Northampton promoted. But in the perilous situation they were in some respects, is this a little easier, or is this now the toughest challenge of your career, keeping United up?
It's the next one. That felt a tough challenge. Naz at the time taking over somebody that was cut adrift and looking like going out of the Football League. So that felt tough at the time. This feels tough. But I won't want to be anywhere else than managing Sheffield United. I've told everybody knows how proud I am of doing that. But it's a huge challenge ahead of us, and it's stacked against us. The odds are stacked against us. The pundits' view and media views will be stacked against us, and it's something we have to overcome. And we're in a hugely challenging situation in a incredibly competitive league that we're in, and. The fixture list doesn't get any easier. But as I said, it's no good moaning and groaning about it. We're in this division to compete. We need to do better. We need to be better at our jobs, all of us, to give us opportunities to get results. But we're going to Southampton in the Premier League. We've got Man United at home on Thursday in the Premier League. And we've got Brighton in the Premier League. So, I love my time at Northampton, and obviously it was a great period. But we took the challenge on, and we're meeting the challenge head on here, that in the situation that we're in.
I think back as well, you've mentioned the previous teams that have got out of this position, but 91, 92, your club itself did it, didn't they? So it's doable and it's very possible.
Yeah, it is. I read an article. It's a really tricky situation, and there'll be possibly even more dramatic words used in that, but it's not impossible. There's obviously a big chunk of games to go, but Naz, we need to affect the results quicker, sooner than later, because of course, you go into the last sort of 10 games of the season, and you do really see an upturn in results, or some strange results by the teams at the bottom. Maybe that's a realization that there really is a problem with the position that those particular clubs are in, and I'm not embarrassed to say we're in a spot of bother. We are, and we can't afford to leave it to the last 10 or 15 games. We've got 13 or 14 games before that situation, and we have to do better than what we're doing, Naz. And there's a lot of fight and a lot of spirit at the football club, and certainly a lot of fight and spirit left inside the players and myself.
This is a loaded one, Chris, and I want you to answer this, because from the watchers from afar that don't know you, don't know the football club, some have already sort of written you off. What do you say to them?
I don't need to say anything. I don't need to answer to anybody. The actions for me, the actions and what we do on that green bit, for me, says everything. And that's what we need to do. We need to play better. We need to make better decisions. We need to be brave in and out of possession. We have to, believe in what has got us here. The aspects of our game that have been successful in the past, that can be successful going forward. So, it does flag up interest, and it flags up debate and obviously opinion, and we have to live with that. The only way you get out of it is as I said, doing your best and working extremely hard on a Monday to Friday up here in our training ground, and taking it out onto game day and delivering. And it's time for us to deliver and give ourselves a fighting chance to compete in this division. And I don't think I need to remind the players that, and I think if you speak to any of them, they understand the situation that we are in at the moment.
Chris, best of luck for the week. I
Cheers,
hope you come out with 7 or 9.
Thanks, pal. Ta-ra, mate.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, got you, mate. You okay?
Brilliant. That's great. I'm not too bad, pal. Not too bad. Speaking of forward thinking, I'll get this out of the way first. Are you open for on course for some forward thinking moves in January? Yes.
I think obviously the obvious one that I've talked about for quite a long time, we need to address that situation. So, I shouldn't imagine there'll be a lot of movement, but for me, there'll be a suggestion or a recommendation to the board what we need to do, and hopefully that'll get their backing.
Brilliant. Yeah. And just in terms of the players that you've got, you said about keeping that belief. I thought Ollie McBurney, he should take sort of some great heart in his performance last weekend, shouldn't he?
Definitely, he's come under the spotlight. He's obviously, when he goes away with his national side, he always comes under the spotlight. But come under the spotlight here at Sheffield United, and big pressure on all of us. Big pressure on, especially at the top of the pitch, because people talk about XGs and stuff, and even through my own eyes, we should have scored more. That obviously puts more points on the board. And that's the pressure that the players at the top of the pitch have to handle and deal. And I think all of them will recognise that they've not took the opportunities that we've created. But it is about scoring as well, but it's about what he brings to the team as well in terms of us to create those chances, in my opinion. And I think that it was a man performance from him on Sunday. He's up against three as well. And the good players. And I thought, he was excellent, and I think everybody was delighted that he got his goal. He'll be disappointed that he's just on the total he's got, because he knows as well as we all do that he should have had more goals, as we all should have done in from a team point of view. But I believe in him, and I believe in the group that we've got here. And as I said, if we can add in January that to give us that little bit of help in the second part of the season, that'd be great. And Ollie, as the rest of the boys, have just got to keep going and doing what they can to affect performances and results.
As what Ollie's done, that's almost been a template for the squad as a whole, isn't it? To get out of the position that they're in, because he's been in some quite sort of low situations himself over the past few weeks, but he's just sort of carried on persevering, and he's got his reward, isn't he?
You've got to scrap your way out of it. I've said all along, it's tough from a relative point of view, being a professional footballer, a very privileged position, but as I keep saying, the sun's not shining at the moment, and that's when you get judged. And he's fighting and battling his way out of it, as they all do. We've just got to be better at our jobs right the way through. We've got to make better decisions at key moments and key times. And I've said that for quite a while, James. You've listened to all my press conferences, and we haven't taken big moments, and we need to. The standard of the opposition that we're playing is excellent. Whether it's Southampton away, whether it's Man U at home, or whether it's last week where we're playing Leicester City, or an outstanding side. It's tough, and you've got to do a lot of things right, and we've got to do more things right on the pitch, and the fight has just got to be as big or even more than what it is now to gain those results.
Cheers, mate. Thank you,
Cheers, mate.
pal.
Thanks. Hey, Ricky.
Hi, Chris. You're right. Just a couple ones on the transfer front. I know James just touched on it a little bit there. You've said that you're probably going to be shopping in the loan market in January. How hopeful are you that you can get them done as soon as possible? You don't want to be waiting until
they need
mid-January, do you?
No, I've said that to the board. I've said that we can't wait. We can't wait to mid and end January. We've got to really be proactive, as we are now. At times, sometimes other people stall it, which obviously is the difficult part of it. But we have to make sure that we do our absolute utmost to do our best to get these, the couple of targets that we've got in mind over the line early on in January, and get them in, because there's obviously a chunk of games in January that you want them to be involved in.
And that kind of leads on to the next question: is would you consider free agents, or is that a case of if you get someone in, they've got to be up to speed, aren't they, straight away? You don't have that time to really get them, into match fitness.
No, that's a difficult part of it, Ricky, because obviously, there's not going to be, we won't be paying, bringing in any permanents in that may be. So, of course, you're looking at it, and it's a difficult window. I think everybody accepts that it's a really tough window to do business in January, but we will, and I will do my best.
Cheers, Chris. Thank you.
Cheers, Ricky. Stu. Hey, Stu.
Hi, Chris. Obviously, last season you were written off as being relegated from the start and proved everyone wrong. Is that something you are using with your players, or just ignoring?
I think you use whatever you can, don't you? But whatever you use it, you've got to deliver. No matter what you use, or if you turn away from it, or you stick it all over the training ground about what people have said about you, or you put stats up that are positive or stats up that are negative. It's all right looking at them, but you've got to find your way as an individual to turn in performances that that gives you opportunities to win games of football, and bringing that together as a team. We've got to find a way. Whatever. I think we've always been, an underdog football club. We've never been the most popular, well supported, richest, biggest achievers as seen in our history. But we are what we are. We can't get away from the fact, and we should be proud of what we are anyway. And we're that group that sticks together through the good times and through the bad times. And I think that's always been the case here at this football club. When it goes adrift and really, there's no connection with anybody, is when they all go individual. I don't see that in my team, Stu. They're together as a group, and they have to be and fight together as a group to get us through this period. But as you said, you can't really do anything about what people say. But it has always been, for me, this football club has always been at its best connected, and having that underdog mentality. But I've said before, I think everybody tries to create that, whatever football club they have, and I don't think that's anything to be embarrassed about.
No, but in terms of the way you deal with your players, I think a lot of people from outside are very impressed by how upfront you are. You always tell it like it is, and what have you. And I guess that needs a certain type of personality. How do you sort of identify those people when you're looking at, for example, for players to come in January? How do you know when you get them in the door that they are going to respond to that, or do you?
Yeah, I mean, we meet them, we speak to them, and we understand what they've done in the past, and we try to get background checks on them. But sometimes you can't. You have to sometimes take a punt on them, and But I would say the majority of boys in professional football are good guys, that are team players. I think if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. If it was that easy to be a pro, everybody would be playing. If it was that easy to be a manager, everybody would be a manager. If it was that easy to be a manager in the Premier League, everybody would be doing it. There's a select few. So the majority of them have got really good characters and good attitudes, and have got the ability to do it. It's obviously all different levels, Stu, but you have to get on with it. And sometimes you have to take a punt. It's not an ideal window to work in, and as you've seen with our signings, you have to get more right than wrong, and we try to delve into the character and bring good people to the football club, not just good players.
And just with regards to that, we spoke to Max Lowe earlier. What's he brought to the football club, particularly off the field, that we haven't seen? Yeah,
I mean, Max was one to bring in and develop. I think everybody understands our recruitment on from that point of view at this particular moment. To learn his trade. If you say to me now, would you have expected Max to go in and play the amount of games that he's played at the level so early on in his career? I would say no, but that's where the football club is at the moment, and I can't affect that at the moment. So Max is learning his trade on the job, and he has to get on with it. So every experience is a good experience. He had a difficult afternoon last Sunday afternoon. Got booked early, and it turned out to be a half that it was a bit of a struggle for us all, let alone him. But he'll come through it. He's tough character. He's a tough boy, and he wants to learn and he wants to improve. So he'll have other opportunities, another opportunity to do that. But they have to. It's tough. It's a tough sport. It's a tough environment. I'll always say, and there's no hiding place in the Premier League, and you've got to get on with it. You're playing up against Maddison, you're playing up against Perez, Mark Albrighton. They're really good players, so there's no downside to him to being involved in a Premier League game, and he'll be better for that experience as we all be. It's not a nice experience at times, but if he wants a comfy life and he wants a comfy career, then he can go and absolutely cruise playing at League One or even Championship and not get tested, not get pushed. And he's getting pushed as much as we all are, and tested all are at the moment.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Thank
Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hi, Chris. I know you can't take the guys to Miami Beach, but has there been anything you can do as a squad away from football to take your mind off it for an hour or two?
What tier are you in, Mike?
I'm in 3 like you.
Have you? Yeah, not a lot we can do, is there? I'd like to be in tier 2.
Really?
Good. But like I said, the local politicians or people that thought it was right didn't fight hard enough for us. Just accepted it. We'll take tier 3, crack on.
It's been difficult not even having a meal together and stuff this season.
Yeah, we have meals together and we'll try and do bits and pieces. But, it is my style of management that we would have taken them away from it and done something a little bit different to change them and just give them a little bit of a fresh approach, but it hasn't to be, so we have to get on with it. And as I've always said, there's a lot worse situations that we're in at the moment in the world and even in this area, in this region, regardless of what tier we're in. People losing the livelihoods and the businesses and the health as well. So we have to get on with it and overcome it just as much as everybody else is. But yeah, it is tough because I was certainly open to it, but it's together, they eat together, they do things together, they understand the group. The group is not, I think what happens, Mike, is, everybody looks to try and find something, a little crack, and make the most of it. There's no cracks in terms of attitude. There's no cracks in terms of application, in spirit. They're a little bit edgy with each other, which I would expect them to be, and I want them to be. They want to achieve, and they're not enjoying the situation just as much as I'm not enjoying the situation. So, yeah, it does become a little bit tense at times, which you can understand with the results that we've got.
Thanks, Chris.
Cheers, Mike.
Finally, then we'll have a couple of minutes for the Sunday boys. We'll embargo this until